there's no doubt he has been one of the greatest players in NHL history. Here we have a closer look.
And don't forget to get a specially designed personal
I was drafted #1 in '73, and I ran into a brick wall named Al Arbour, who said, "You're now in the NHL, young man. You're going to have to learn to play both ways." It was tough at times, and it was great at other times. But in retrospect, just like when I left home and didn't think that my dad was such a great guy, and when I was 17, I later realized that he was the greatest influence in my life. And I think Al Arbour fits that bill as well. I'll never forget the first time I stepped on the ice. As a 14-year-old junior hockey player with the Ottawa 67s, whether I had a good game or not didn't really matter, but the fact that I was 14 right away made me, put me in the same category as Orr, who had been, I think, the only other player who played junior at such a young age. So the next day, you know, the picture and the headline, Dennis Potvin, touted as the next Bobby Orr. And it was a big thrill then, and it remained a big thrill throughout my career, and an honor because I've always respected the man for his great hockey ability and for the way I think he changed the game. No, it's always been kind of, oh no, you know, it's Thursday night, I have to go in the garden. But I think about that Wednesday night, and then Thursday I start preparing, or even Wednesday night going to bed, I start preparing for it. And God, you know, you always hear in the old sports arenas how mentally tough you have to be. And Al used to always say, I don't care if the roof falls down, I still want you guys to back check. A defenseman is really, can really be the key to the success of the team, and defense is usually the nucleus of the team, and is the part that is going to protect as well as create offensive plays. And I think that there should be recognized, the Norris Trophy winner should be a most valuable player, the defenseman who contributes the most to his team. The fact is that when we came to play hockey, it was extremely important that, you know, I take care of you and you take care of me, and I know that if my back's turned, I've got somebody protecting me. And in the common sense of the game, you knew that you weren't alone doing a job. We were attacking as a pack, and we all felt stronger because of that. We just couldn't give it that one more shot. I mean, we saw the top of the mountain and we just couldn't get to it. It was really sad, you know, because of our injuries and a lot of the off-ice. I mean, Dave Larnton's father died during the playoffs, so did my father, and you can't believe the emotional strain that brings on an individual. And as close as I explained we were earlier, also meant that when somebody suffered a tragedy in the dressing room, he wasn't alone. But I hope that I've left a lot of good memories, and I hope that...
Here at the Nassau Coliseum is 5-2. The New York Islanders have the lead over the Washington Capitals. Mike Fornes and Al Koken welcoming you back once again to our live hockey coverage here on DC-20. The second period that saw the Caps get on the board with a couple of goals, but the Islanders came roaring back with 3 of their own.
Caps looked like they had so much momentum going their way, cutting it back down to a 2-goal game, but that power play has been a great strength for the Islanders tonight, and they really made the penalty against Bengt Gustafsson count, go back on top by 3. It's an awful long road for the Capitals to come back in that third period. They just lack that raw firepower. It's certainly not over, but that may have been the key goal.
Let's take a look now at the other scores from out of town. We've got some more surprises to pass along to you here. First of all, Quebec and Philadelphia are now tied up. It's now 4-4, and they're in the third period. New Jersey has pulled ahead of Pittsburgh 5-2. That is a third period score at the Igloo in Pittsburgh. Montreal leads Boston 2-1 at the Boston Garden in the third period, and Hartford now trails Buffalo 3-2, also in period number 3. Right here, the Islanders with a 3-goal lead, and we'll be back with tonight's third period after these words.
Tonight's Capitals hockey game is brought to you in part by the Masonry Institute.
The third period of this game, the Islanders lead the Capitals 5-2. Mike Ridley ready at center ice to work against Bryan Trottier. Trottier picks the draw and brings it back to Gerald Diduck. Over to Potvin. Plays it off the boards for Gilbert out at center ice. Here's Larry Murphy ahead to Miller, and as he gets across the line, Ridley's already in. Offside is called. Al, you know, it's interesting looking at these out-of-town scores to consider some of the possibilities. New Jersey certainly surprising me, I'll say that, with their performance here late behind the goaltending of Sean Burke. They can finish as high as third place. They could end up with as many as 82 points. They got 3 games left. They're at Pittsburgh tonight, and of course host the Islanders on Saturday afternoon, then at Chicago Sunday. They're going to wind up winning the season series over the Penguins if they keep going here 6-1. And New Jersey, if they win tonight, would be unbeaten in 6 straight games. Gartner keeps it inside the Devils, or the Islanders zone, and a shot by Miller caroms off the side of the net. Now Miller turns it around and gets a shot off. Potvin blocks it. Another drive, and Potvin with a big block there. Gartner hooked to the ice by Potvin, had the stick up high, and Ridley finally has it touched by Gerald Diduck, and there's going to be a penalty here against the Islanders. Dennis Potvin. He high stick Mike Gartner and got that stick up under that face shield. That'll give Washington the power play advantage here to start the third period.
Potvin had made a couple good blocks before that high sticking call. Watch the veteran get out there and use his body once. Got out there and did it again. Now here's the high sticking play. That was the second block he had made. But Kelly Miller had a terrific opportunity. Here's the close look at it. Miller, though, set up perfectly right to the side there, just a little bit to the left of Kelly Hrudey. The net was open, and put it off just the side there to the outside of that post. That, again, seems to be the chronic problem for the Capitals. You get scoring opportunities, nobody's burying the puck to put it away.
Here's Galley on the power play to Stevens, and his shot's deflected and goes up into the seats. Now Pittsburgh, although losing tonight, let's say they come back, they could finish as high as third place and could have more points than New Jersey if they come back and win this game. They could end up with 83 points. Their 3 games left, besides the Devils tonight. They're at Washington Saturday, and they host the Whalers on Sunday. And they don't want to tie the Devils in the standings, I'll tell you that. Here's Hunter getting a shot in there with his stick, trying to pry it free from the glove of Hrudey. And Norton had something to say to Hunter in the aftermath. Gary Galley back on that point with Scott Stevens.
See, the problem with Pittsburgh and New Jersey, if New Jersey wins tonight, they have 36 wins. Pittsburgh only 34. That, of course, the first tiebreaker, and New Jersey would have an edge then in that season series, points in the season series. So everything really hinges a lot on that game tonight between the two clubs.
Here's Morrow clearing it all the way down. Of course, the Rangers completing that lower section of the division could also finish only as high as third with a maximum of 83 points. Here's Scott Stevens, tries to flip it in front, misses Hunter. Gustafson goes to the corner after it. Back to the point. Bengt Gustafson to Scott Stevens. At the side of the net, here's Hunter. Taken away by Trottier, and he flips it out to center ice. It gets away from Gustafson. Gustafson goes in, Crom is with him, and Peters lops it into the corner. And Bengt Gustafson puts it behind the net for Scott Stevens. Here's Stevens, leads it out off the skate of Gartner. Picked up by Stevens. He's cross-checked by Diduck and gives it right back to Diduck. Stevens and Diduck tied up, and Diduck takes a swing at Stevens with his stick and misses. No penalties called on any of that. Here comes Gartner, working to center ice. Gets across the line. Mike Gartner into the right wing corner. Throws it behind the net. Ridley comes up with a puck from Hatcher. Here's Mike Ridley, back to the point. Over to Grant Ledyard. Now to Larry Murphy. Murphy back to Ledyard. A slap shot. It's up high and goes wide off the glass. Now Murphy at the right point. His drive is caught by Hrudey.
glove hand of Kelly Hrudey is unbelievable. Larry Murphy stinging a shot. It comes in high. It's really going towards that stick side. But Hrudey showing all the confidence he has with that catching glove and makes the play. And again, he's able to see it a little better because Gerald Diddick does a good job of getting Mike Gartner out of the way. In that regard, Hrudey has had a much easier night than he had a few games ago at the Capitol Center, where Washington players were in front of him all night long, and Hrudey really lost his cool on a couple of occasions. But tonight, the Islanders defense has done a much better job of keeping the Capitals away from that crease.
The draw grabbed by Norton. It's chased over to the sideboards for Crom, and he flips it out to center. 8 seconds left on Potvin's high sticking penalty. Capitals one more rush on the power play. Murphy to Gartner, a slap shot, and a glove save by Hrudey. Dynamite goaltending. He stopped Gartner's low blazer. That finishes off the penalty to Potvin. The Islanders are at full strength.
Once again, the glove coming into play. Mike Gartner with the hardest shot on the Capitals team. This one is a little lower than the last one Kelly Hrudey handled, but gets out there with the pads and backs things up with the glove. 33 shots on goal for the Capitals. Only 2 goals in almost every game this year, as we talked about, Mike. The Capitals out shooting the New York Islanders. In fact, you come into this contest, the Capitals with 207 shots against the Islanders, only 174 for New York. The difference has been Hrudey for the most part, and Billy Smith as well, and it just goes back to that playoff series last year, and particularly Game 7, where Kelly Hrudey made all those critical saves.
Here's Makela in on Rod Langway in the Washington zone. Throws to the side of the net. Trottier knocked to the ice by Galley. There'll be a penalty call here against the Capitals. Holding against Gary Galley. Time of the call, 3:14 in the third period. There's a break in the action. The Islanders lead the Capitals 5-2.
Last week, we bought this great new VCR at Circuit City. They guarantee...
By wrapping up Brian Trottier, Gary Galley gets the call for holding at 3:14. Play is dumped down by Makela. Could have been interference as well before Trottier even had a chance to get it. You see, Gary Galley's already had the stick around the midsection and has lost it as Trottier goes down. So instead of trying to build on a little bit of momentum gain during the power play, the Caps now have to kill off yet another New York Islander penalty, and they already trail by 3. Just can't afford to, if they're going to make a comeback, to be defensive and be killing off penalties in that regard.
LaFontaine jams up now with Gould along the sideboards. It's dumped all the way down by Hatcher. Diddick makes the play. Out to Brian Trottier. Trottier to Potvin. Sends it across the line. Back in the Washington zone. Peters leaves it behind the net. Here's Langway to move it up the boards. At the point, it's kept in. Trottier right over to LaFontaine. He tried to bank it in off Peters, but missed hitting the Washington goaltender. His angle was so severe. Now here comes Makela on the comeback for New York. Mikko Makela passes to Brian Trottier. Back to the point for Potvin. At the blue line. Here's Norton. Over to Makela. A slap shot. Deflected by Langway, and now he clears to the point, but not out. Kept in by Norton. Over to Potvin. LaFontaine back to Dennis Potvin. Over to Norton. 50 seconds left on the Washington penalty to Galley. Trottier right through the goal mouth. Over to Potvin at the point. Potvin's drive blocked. Makela misfires in the corner. Gives it off to Trottier. Here's Trottier in the corner. Now back to Norton. Norton skates in, delivers. That's deflected just wide. And Kelly Miller picks it up and clears it all the way down to ease the pressure. Down to 20 seconds left in Gary Galley's holding penalty. 15 minutes remaining in the third period. The Islanders lead the Capitals 5-2. Here comes Kerr walking in, scores! Picks the top corner, going over Peters' shoulder on the stick side. New York makes it 6-2 with a power play goal.
Nothing away from Alan Kerr. This is a terrific shot, but how do you let a guy like this get so wide open on the power play? It's just a sensational shot as it gets up there underneath that arm. but still, again, off that wing, too much room to maneuver. Challenged up high is Trache, and Ledyard can't get back in that regard to recover against Kerr. Seemed to be forced him to a decent angle. I imagine Pete Peters probably should have had that, but it looked like it was a pretty well-directed shot in that regard, but too much room given to guys like Alan Kerr. He's certainly improved his goal scoring this year, now 22 on the year.
Time of the goal, 5:03 of the third period. Trache gets an assist. And so does Jeff Norton. At 5:03, Kerr scores on the power play. How where that puck ended up in the net, I thought it had gone over Peters' shoulder. Now, I think it may have even hit Peters' stick and gone up under his arm. I don't think he would have just let that go by his pad. I think it might have even hit Pete Peters' goal stick and deflect in up into the corner of the net.
Well, I thought when I first saw it, while I was giving Kerr so much credit for a great shot, but in that regard, if it does sneak under the arm in that, Peters should have had that covered a little better.
Here's Conroy off the sideboards, and Ledyard has it at center. Dumps it back into the Islander zone. Janssen back to get it. Penalty box is empty. Crom out to center ice. Now Sundstrom leads it to Gartner on the right wing. Gartner fires wide, and Makela tips it out to center ice. The Islanders lead 6-2 with 14 minutes to play. Shot by Hatcher, deflected by Rudy into the corner. Here's Kevin Hatcher. Sends it back into the New York zone. Morrow up the boards. Greg Smith keeps it in. Now Trache tries to start out. Here's Ivan Corvo on his backhand. Turns it around. At the blue line, he tosses to the corner. It goes behind the net for Gartner. And Mike Gartner chases it back to the point. Flips it into the other corner. Here's Rich Crom for New York. Gets it ahead for Conroy, and he taps it all the way down the ice. Greg Smith back to get it. Icing is the call against New York, with 13-13 remaining in the third period. There's a break in the action with a score, the Islanders 6 and the Capitals 2.
On a 6-2 lead over the Capitals, 13-13 left to play in this third period.
Well, they're now in overtime at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. 4-4 between the Nordiques and the Flyers. Poulin has 2 goals for Philadelphia. Murray Craven with 2 goals for the Flyers. Lambert, Jeff Brown, Anton Stastny, and Michel Goulet scoring for Quebec. Miller brings it back to Langway. Out to Larry Murphy. Now to Kelly Miller. Miller into the corner. Jammed up by Diddick. The puck still loose. Potvin is bumped out of there by Ridley. And now LaFontaine clears the zone. Here's Langway from center ice. Dekes his way back to the line. It goes into the corner, and Diddick is there to play it off the glass. Langway, right wing side. Kelly Miller takes a shot. It's popped in behind the goal. Here comes Ken Morrow. Out to Derek King. Gets it to center ice. Basson has to take it back to his own line. Potvin into the corner. Basson starts out. Gustafson throws it on the right wing for Christian. Cutting in a slap shot and a goal! Dave Christian catching the stick side of Rudy low to the ice. And Washington is back on the board now at 6-3.
One of the few times the Capitals have had a little skating room in this regard, and you keep it away from Kelly Rudy's glove. David Christian, who scored a goal almost in similar fashion the other night against Detroit, coming down that right wing and then putting it on the far side inside that far post. Get it away from Rudy's glove, you got a little better chance, and some skating room for a change. Probably too little too late in that regard, but David Christian, he's scored now for his second game in a row, and the Capitals need production from him heading into the playoffs.
Gustafson gets the assist at 8:06 on Christian's 37th goal of the year, and we still have 11:35 to play. Here's Crom hustling in. He's hooked by Ledyard, but the play is offside anyway.
Tickets for the playoff games A and B on sale now. The dates of the games, of course, depend on what happens in this Patrick Division race. If the Caps end up in first or second, games A and B Wednesday and Thursday night on the 6th and 7th of April with the 7:30 face-off. If the Caps finish third or fourth, games A and B will be Saturday and Sunday night, the 9th and 10th, also 7:30 face-off time. Tickets are available at all Hex ticket centers, or you can call phone charge at 202-432-0200. or the new 800 number, 1-800-448-9009. And tonight, operators on duty until 11.
Here goes Norton to the corner. Tied up by Gould, chased by Morrow to the sideboards. Cleared to the point, kept in by Pavanka. Michael Pavanka tries to put it on Hatcher's stick, but it never gets there. Morrow blocks it. Now Galley over to Pavanka. Wide through the goal mouth. There's going to be a delayed penalty call coming up against New York. 2 minutes for cross-checking. Looks like Ken Morrow is going to get the gate. There's a break in the action with the score. The Islanders 6 and the Capitals 3.
20 Tuesday night, the 5th of April, as the Bullets travel to Chicago for an important Eastern Conference game against Michael Jordan and the Bulls. It's live at 8:30 p.m. Join Mel Proctor and Phil Chenier as they call all the action right here on your Superstation for Sports, DC 20.
Morrow for cross-checking at 8:57 of the third period, giving the Capitals another power play chance, and a shot from the point by Stevens. This one went to the glove side of Rudy, and he made the save.
This is the year I've been impressed with Kelly Rudy more tonight. We knew he has such a great glove, but he's playing with such confidence, and you see it here, coming out to challenge in that regard. But again, you see the shot all the way. If you're a goaltender, how could you ask for more? Everybody taking off the play. He's got that clean angle to it to come out to make the save.
Here comes Gartner walking into the side of the net, just misses Hunter. It's into the corner. Larry Murphy along the sideboards, works it to the point. Stevens hustles to keep it in. Now here's Gartner cutting in a deke, a shot, and it's blocked from right in front by Potvin. Cleared all the way down the ice. Peters makes the play. Out to Gartner. Gartner cutting in, tries to wrap it around in the goal mouth, and Rudy has stopped it. Conroy and Murphy pushing and shoving, and it looked like Rudy had that one right on the line.
Mike, I don't think he ever knew it was right there until it was sitting on the line. Gartner, with a terrific burst of speed, comes in and makes the wraparound play. Now, here's earlier. Gartner with a little deke, and look at Potvin coming in to clear the puck. Then you come back, the Capitals, and again, great